The blade is there to guard those boundaries.
Here's my license. Why don't you come and get it?
Drop the knife.
Fuck you.
Hello and welcome to this educational video presentation on how to become a sovereign citizen. It is our hope that at the end of this, you will have all the information necessary to live as a free man. Now wait a minute, I hear you asking. What is a sovereign citizen? Well, simply looking at the etymology of the word gives you a better idea of what it is. Basically, it's living the life that Jesus and George Washington wanted you to live. And by paying close attention as we go step by step, you're going to understand how to exercise your rights, recognize your rights, and deal with law enforcement on the scene. Did you know that most people are unfamiliar with the fact that police officers are child-hating baby rapists? It's true. Would you take a ticket from a baby rapist? I certainly wouldn't. And after this video, you won't either. So enough with the introductions. Let's get into the video.
Am I being detained?
What's that?
Am I being detained?
Am I being detained?
Are you educated?
Am I being detained?
Am I being detained? Am I being detained? Am I being detained?
These four simple words are all you need to remember when you encounter a police officer. They act as a constitutional ward against being arrested. In fact, when a police officer hears you say, "Am I being detained?" they are legally obligated to leave you alone, no matter what the circumstance. However, occasionally you're going to run into a police officer that does not follow the color of the law.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but there's no law that states that I need a driver's license to drive a vehicle.
I need to see your license and proof of insurance, sir.
Can you prove that I'm driving?
Remember, your typical police officer is mentally handicapped. Because they are so incredibly retarded, barely 90% of the national police force is capable of reading. That's 90% illiterate. Asking them a question will confuse them long enough for you to leave the scene. If that doesn't work, try jingling some keys in their face. They love to play with shiny things. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that the police officer still has not left you alone. You're going to need to explain to him that you are a free man, and that free men travel. They don't drive.
It's just, sir, I don't feel that I've done anything wrong. I'm just a traveler. I'm trying to travel. I just dropped my daughter off at school. I'm just trying to travel back home.
Am I driving?
Yes, sir.
No, I'm not. I'm traveling.
This is my automobile that I travel in whenever I feel like traveling. And this is my homemade plate, which I have made.
Now these three simple rules, am I being detained? I am not driving a vehicle. I am a traveler, are usually enough to get you out of any situation, whether it be a high-speed chase or a double homicide. But just to be safe, always ask them for a business card.
Okay, I don't tell you anything.
Really?
Yeah, you don't know how it works, do you? Let me see your.
I don't.
Let me see your card or something with your name.
I'm going to give you my name. In fact, I'm going to put it on the parking ticket after I tow your truck away.
I need business cards. I need business cards. I need your business card, though. I need your business card.
He's giving you a card right here.
I need your business card. Who are you?
We're from the Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, who are you?
Sheriff's Department.
Who are you?
And of course, the most important thing to remember, they don't have jurisdiction over you.
Let me see your hand!
Who are you?
The police, come here!
No, I'm not in your jurisdiction. I'm in my own jurisdiction. Don't pull that gun out on me. You have no jurisdiction over me, okay? You're in my jurisdiction. You're in my jurisdiction, okay? I don't do what you say. I'm a king. Kings don't take orders, all right?
That's right, he's a king. In fact, all sovereigns are kings in their own right. Now that we've learned these 5 essential bullet points, let's take a look at some real-life examples and see what they did and did differently.
Nope, I'm leaving. Don't get in front of me. You're pulling your gun on me? Okay, he's pulling his gun on me. Everybody, I have not done anything criminally wrong. He's pulling his gun on me. No. No. It's off. Parking brakes on. I'm no threat. I'm no threat. They're pointing their guns at me just because I don't have the right plates on my car. That's why. You guys don't have this authority. You're gonna break my window. Don't. I'll open my door. Don't. Ow, asshole. What the hell?
Get out of the car now.
Okay, they just broke my glass. See that? Beautiful. Good job.
Get out of the fucking car now.
I have nothing on me. Oh, you're gonna cut me. Don't. I'll open the door. You're gonna cut me. You're going to cut me.
This man has done nothing wrong. He was simply trying to travel directly into a police officer with his vehicle. How is that illegal?
But we told you he's an Article 4 free inhabitant, so he does not have to have a license. Article 4, free inhabitant, pursuant to the Articles of Confederation. You can look it up. It's in the United States Book of Codes. It is your laws you have to follow. I'm gonna get out of the car and walk down to that house.
No, you are not free to leave right now.
Are you saying you have authority over me?
Yes, I do.
You have proven authority over me.
Yes, I do.
How did you do that?
The County of Imperial through the sheriff. All right, well, you're not free to leave. You're going to take the bag off.
No, I'm not.
You're going to take the bag off.
No, I'm not. Hey! You're raping me. This is rape. This is rape. This is rape.
Now this is some advanced level sovereign citizenry. Not only did this young lady remember to mention the Articles of Confederation, she also screamed rape, which is what you should always do anytime a police officer touches you. It's your God-given constitutional right.
I have reason to believe that crime is afoot because I can smell marijuana coming from this vehicle. Do you understand that?
Do you comprehend Article?
I have a lawful reason to get you out of the vehicle.
You do not.
Yes, open up the vehicle.
No. I would like to see your supervisor. Are you violating my space? Are you kidding? Help! 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 I do not consent! I do not consent! No, you do not.
Yes, you do.
You do not smell marijuana. I don't smell any marijuana.
Oh, it reeked of marijuana.
No, it doesn't. We don't smell any marijuana anywhere. Are you assaulting me?
You're assaulting him. We did not
Help! 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 Call the police! Call them!
Sure, we are the police.
No! No!
No! Please let him
You're trying to attack my nuts! That is not proper use of that device!
Stop it!
Have you been trained in proper use of a taser?
Another man having his rights abused. That officer did not smell marijuana. The driver told him so. And then to tase him in the balls? What is he thinking?
What you may have,
I'm giving you a lawful order.
what you may have,
Obey it, or I'm gonna
what
take
you may
to jail.
have, what you may have is the opportunity to read. Whoa, whoa, whoa! This is assault. This is assault. You've broken my windows. I do not consent. I do not consent.
Remember, never consent, especially after they've broken your window and are dragging you out of your car for non-compliance. That is the exact moment that you want to start to resist. It is a smart decision.
That's fine. Y'all are going.
I need to see your driver's license.
Then we have another cop pulling up, and I'm
Sir!
sitting here asking
Sir!
them the same
What
thing.
is
I
your
need
name?
you to stand down and get your.
Open your window now, or I'm gonna bust it out.
Now you're going. Okay, I need you to call and I need you to get your supervisor out here. I need your supervisor out here. I need your supervisor. I am asking him for his supervisor. I am asking you for your supervisor. Okay, officer, I am asking you for your supervisor to come out here. Now you have busted my vehicle up, and now you are going to detain me. You are illegally getting into my vehicle, and now you have taken my phone.
Always ask for a supervisor, even as they're breaking your window. It just makes sense. We've learned quite a bit in part 1. Let's review. Am I being detained? I am not driving a vehicle. I am a traveler. You don't have authority over me. Can I get your business card? Call your supervisor. I do not consent. The Articles of Confederation say you can fuck yourself. And rape. Knowing these handy phrases and when to use them will almost certainly always get you arrested. But that's not the point. Being a sovereign citizen is about standing up for your rights, even if you're standing in a jail cell, which is more than likely where you're going to be standing. Which leads us right into Section 2.
Sir, today I'm appearing as the agent and settler for David Hall.
Okay. Okay. Could you get Mr. Hall for me then, sir? Where is he?
I go by that name, sir. My name sounds exactly like the defendant's, and I'm here to settle that matter today.
So are you and David Hall one and the same person?
I'm not a person, I'm an individual. David Hall is a person.
Okay.
I am the agent to that
David
name.
Hall one and the same individual?
I go by the name David Hall, sir, and I'm here about that matter today.
Okay. So you go by the name David Hall. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. The person who goes by the name of David Hall who's standing in front
I'm
of
the
you.
individual.
You're
I
the
am an individual, not a person.
You're not a person.
Yes, sir. David Hall is a person. I am a private individual. David Hall is a person under color of law, sir.
Okay. Where's David Hall then? The person David Hall.
He exists on paper, sir. David Hall is a corporation. This action is under color of law, sir, and I do understand that. I am here in my real capacity as the private individual for that name.
Okay,
And I'm here about that matter.
You're the
and I'm happy to
You're
settle
the
it.
private individual, David Hall.
I'm the settler, sir.
You're the
I'm
settler,
the settler.
David Hall.
Always remember, never show up to court as the person or corporation that you are, only as a settler, agent, or individual. That is an amateur mistake, and one that will cost you dearly.
I am secured party under a UCC filing at the Secretary of State, 201-308-717-006.
Okay.
I am secured party to David Hall on the record and through a filing at the Secretary of State, sir. I appear here today as the settler, agent, not the person, but the individual. And I don't think I should have you understand the difference between a person and an individual.
Agent, and you're the individual, but you're not the person. Is that correct?
Correct. May I make a correction, sir?
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I'm traveling. You said that you used the term driving, and I was traveling, sir.
Always make sure that the courtroom is aware that you were not driving, you were traveling. They need to read the Articles of Confederation and the Constitution. Try to have a copy handy on you. It helps.
What do you think
record,
your remedy
my
is?
remedy is being denied. For the record, I am the real individual, and this action is under color of law, and I don't understand this color of law action.
Okay. Well, have a nice day. Thank you.
It looks like the judge left the courtroom. Do you know what that means? That's right. You win.
We're going to take a recess. Thank you.
Thank you. All rise.
How long? How long, sir? I don't have all day, thank you. I have things to do.
We'll take the court.
Yeah, actually,
This court will recess
please
and
note that the
call.
judge has abandoned the court. It's abandoned ship, and I, as the sovereign in this room, claim authority, case dismissed, with cause and prejudice.
Anytime a judge vacates a courtroom for any reason whatsoever, it is a default judgment in your favor. Congratulations, you're not going to prison.
You are not God. You have no jurisdiction over me.
God's not worried about cameras, sir. I am.
All right. Well, why are you worried about cameras? Because you want to do something
Against the
wrong?
rules.
Because you want to do something wrong? Because if it's against the rules, that means it's because somebody intends on wronging somebody else. Because they're afraid of being held accountable. P. Barnes.
It's a nice speech, but you're still not coming in.
Well,
On occasion, you're going to encounter hired thugs known as bailiffs in a courthouse. They are fraudulent and have zero authority. You can disregard anything they say and there will be no consequences whatsoever.
please step aside. I'm going in.
No, you're not going in.
Don't touch me.
You're not going in, sir.
Let the record show that you just battered me.
Step back.
And you're using...
A few other important details to remember as a sovereign citizen being taken to court. You are never at fault. Nobody knows the law as well as you do. The police officers are incompetent. The judges are incompetent. The bailiffs are incompetent. You are a genius, and you need to let them know that every single opportunity you get. Coming up on Tape 2, we're going to discuss how to use your body as collateral to pay off your debts. Never owe anybody money ever again, because we're going to teach you how the U.S. Treasury works.
I'm going to send my first accepted for value today. A lot of people across the world have been sending these in to pay bills with effectively their signature by accessing their Treasury bond account that was created with their birth certificate.
Get away from here. Get out of my house. Drop the razor. Drop it.
What he's telling you is, don't invade my space or I'll attack you.
Hello, and welcome back to Sovereign Citizens 101. Congratulations on having completed tape number 1 in our educational, informational video series, in which you learned how to deal with law enforcement on the scene, judges in a courthouse, and court-appointed employees. However, as any good sovereign citizen knows, the law is only one way in which the government tries to inhibit your ability to live as a free man. Over the course of this presentation, you're going to learn about the financial side of it, as we cover maritime admiralty laws, bonded birth certificates and accepted for value. So what do you say? Let's begin our journey to financial independence.
All ships are named after females. Ships give birth at the dock. Your mom gave birth at the dock. Your mom had contractions, put you under a secret contract. And she goes to the maternity ward, which automatically makes you a ward of the state. You know, it's a foreign embassy. Hospitals are built on foreign embassies. You come down the birth canal, water. You have a navel, your belly button, all water. Two people have come together as a partnership and created a product under maritime admiralty law.
Maritime admiralty law is what's known as the law of the water. Let's look at how and why a form of law that is fashioned to govern corporations, businesses, and vessels has imposed its rule over natural human beings. This is all done through a form of word magic. The Barron's Dictionary of Banking Terms defines a certificate as a paper establishing an ownership claim. So right there, we notice that everyone with a birth certificate is defined as being owned. People are used as collateral with other nations because the U.S. is bankrupt.
That's correct. We are living under a maritime admiralty law system in which your parents were tricked into giving birth to a seafaring vessel, all because the United States is bankrupt. But it's much more insidious than that.
The United States, the country, or what everybody thinks is a country, is actually a corporation. They're a bankrupt corporation, and they've, in order to stay in business, and it is a business, they had to put up some collateral in 1933 after they already put up the collateral for the states and the federal government, the sovereignty for that. So what they did is they made you into a corporation. They brought in what's called international maritime law, or the law of the water. They drew the water lines back.
After 1933, the United States stopped being a nation and became a corporation, a bankrupt corporation that used the water level to dictate how we'd go forward financially. But why would they do this?
The banks control the currencies. It goes back to the water, like always, everything water. The banks control the currency of the water. The word liberty means permission to leave the ship. The word arrest means to hold a ship in its port. Government, you know, vern is green. Go to the green mine is what government means. It's abracadabra.
Expecto disappointment, because we are living in a slave system in which we are chattel. But how can we fight back? How do we take down this bankrupt corporation known as the United States of America? Well, the first step is in understanding what a bonded birth certificate is.
Now, most birth certificates in most countries, in fact in all countries, are used as bonds. That's human capital. It can be used as a fungible instrument that can go into a private placement program. You can get your birth certificate monetized. You do not have to be a wage earner and do your 40 hours a week slavery routine. You don't have to do that.
You heard correctly, folks. You can monetize your birth certificate. Think of your life as a television show in which you can place ads wherever you like. But let's go into more detail. Just how much debt can you wipe out with your birth certificate?
You can definitely wipe out your any debt, whether it's judgments, lawsuits, credit card debt, child support debt, traffic tickets, anything, any violation, any charges with your birth certificate. Why is that? Okay, let me begin with this interesting blog that my friend Yarrow has posted on Facebook. They always want your signature. Why? Because that has a lien on that. Okay, they put a lien on that signature, and they've already done that. And that signature is worth millions or billions of dollars. I mean, I don't even want to get to that. I would say limitless, because we're limitless. Why is that, you're probably asking? It's because we come from the earth. We come from the earth. And how you're able to forgive their debt, is by signing it with your golden signature.
I bet you didn't know your signature was golden, Earthchild, but it is. You are worth millions and billions of US dollars. So how do we take that capital under maritime admiralty laws to pay off debts to the IRS and our living expenses? Well, it's quite simple actually. We use accepted for value.
Accepted for value is basically using your birth certificate bond that they created when a few days after you was born, that the government has been using for collateral. Is you're going to take that and you're going to discharge all of the debt that you're in. If you want to do it for any sort of bank loan, you could do it. If you want to do it for your credit card, your debit card, you could do it. Student loans, I discovered it works for that as well.
Amazing, isn't it? I bet all this time you were using your money from hard-earned labor to pay off your debts and bills. Well, worry no more, because you can cast aside your financial responsibilities by following these simple steps.
Now this is going to be a print overlay. You're going to have this on your computer, and then you're just going to print this onto whatever bills you have, and then you can just send them out. It's a great little handy way to do it. And then you have the line to sign it, and then you have something else to write money order. Okay, accepted for value. Right here you're going to put a line, and you're going to leave that line there because this is where you're going to sign it and date it in blue. Now you're going to put your all cap name, okay? So I'll use the Jack Rabbit name, okay? You're going to put Jack Rabbit, EXEMPT, number. Who cares if I spell it right, as long as you guys get your bills paid, right? The Social Security number, not your Social Security number. The Social Security number with without dashes. I've already got my bill printed out. I've got this overlay on it. All right, now I'm going to put money order. All right, I'm going to write it on there somewhere, okay? That is my order to pay money whenever there happens to be some money available, because there isn't any money. They took all our money in 1933.
Unlimited wealth is yours, and you don't even need all three of the primary colors, just red and blue. By writing this on any bill which comes in your name, you can easily dismiss and discharge, offset that debt.
Accept for value, accepting for value, returning for value, / returning for settlement. Notice to agent is notice to principal. Notice to principal is notice to agent. Notice of tender for set off. If for any reason you do not understand any of these statements or warnings, it is incumbent upon you to summon a superior officer, special prosecutor, federal judge, or any other competent legal counsel who will immediately explain to you the significance of this presentment as per your duties, obligations, and respect to this private and public securities instrument. Service by any other manner will be deemed effective on its face. Executed by King, this 20th day of March 2012. This is my will. Let it be said. Let it be done.
Well, clearly, this was a lot to take in. We've learned quite a few things. The United States is a bankrupt corporation who, fearing their inability to pay their own debts, decided to use maritime admiralty laws to declare you a shipping vessel and then use your birth certificate as collateral in trades with international entities such as other nations and corporations. But by understanding this, you can use your own bonded birth certificate to pay off any and all of your debts by simply writing on any envelope or bill that comes to your house, accepted for value. By understanding each of these things on this list, you can take back control of your life, you can implement word magic, and you can be financially independent.
This officer is dead. Why? Very simply, he wasn't prepared.
Hello and welcome back once again to Sovereign Citizens 101, the educational, informational home study course. In tape number 1, we learned how to deal with the police as well as the judicial system. In tape number 2, we learned about financial freedom and how to use our birth certificate and social security number to pay every and all debts we have. But it's one thing to have the information, it's another to live it. And in tape number 3, we're going to be looking at a profile in courage. We're going to be studying under the mastership of Winston Shroud. Mr. Shroud, a worldwide recognized speaker on sovereign citizenship and self-made businessman who offers solutions in commerce, a private lecturing tour, and online educational series, has dedicated himself to living the dream. And I think that's a life you and I both can agree we all want to participate in. So join me on this journey into learning how to live the best life, how to live the free life, how to live as a sovereign citizen.
The only reason why anybody is in jail is because they didn't pay their debt. So if you take the court case, the order, whatever it is, accept it for value, return it back to the party, which would be the clerk of the court, and the clerk of the court does not supply a check for your endorsement, they are in default, they're in dishonor.
So we're going to accept it for value and do all these things to it, but then we're going to charge it to the party that created the bill. Because once it's charged, now the interest could be returned to the principal and you get a zero balance.
Because this paper process of affidavits and liens and all this kind of stuff, this is a substitute for the dueling field. Any of you ever fought a duel?
We used to get presentments from the IRS, and they wouldn't send the check. And so we used to write back to them and say, thank you very much for what you sent to me, but you didn't send me the check. Well, after a period of time, they started sending the check. They do. Yeah, it's on there. All right. Do you doubt my word? Who said that, huh? When somebody sends you a piece of paper that got numbers on it and names and all that kind of stuff going on, and you accept it, it turns that piece of paper into currency.
Well, those are some important pieces of information. The only reason people go to jail is because they didn't pay their debt. All bills that exist, all debts that exist, the financial system itself is merely a proxy for dueling. And let's not forget, last but not least, if you receive a notification that you owe a debt, they need to give you the money to give to them. How are you supposed to pay a bill if you don't have the money to pay it? Now try not to be overwhelmed with this new world of financial freedom. Luckily, Winston Shrout offers courses for you to get this information and to absorb it for a nominal fee. You can become a member of his website and study under the master. With a legal expert like Winston Shrout, that's money well spent.
Again, I very seldom ever look in the what you call law books. I look and see what's happening. I look and see what's going on. And that's what I base what I do on, not so much what's written in statutes and codes.
So adding on to what he shared, then we don't need to do our declaratory judgment. We don't have all this prep work to do prior to doing acceptance for value.
Anybody on the street down here can do this. Anybody on the street, go find them. Anybody can do this.
And then we'll accept it.
You already accepted. You did the acceptance. It's your signature that creates the faith and confidence in this thing.
We just did this for a traffic ticket. We didn't do the deposit thing, and we didn't get it back from the city because he had one from the city too. I haven't heard anything back from them, but we did this type of thing. And what we got back from, no, I guess it was a city attorney. The city attorney sent the ticket back.
But Jim, I hear you asking, that's all well and good if you want to pay a parking ticket or have the DA send the charges back to you. But what about the more in-depth information? I'm not just looking to pay off a credit card or a delinquent bank account.
Now, this is the illusion. This is the illusion. Because the birth certificate is not a birth certificate, it's a death certificate. That's what it is. How do we know it's a death certificate? Because it's a tombstone. How do we know it's a tombstone? Because if you look on the birth certificate, what's it going to have? It's going to have John Doe on there. If you go out to the cemetery and look on the tombstone, what's it going to have on there? So that's why we say that the birth certificate itself is the death certificate, because the entity on the birth certificate is the same entity that's on the tombstone.
when a child is brought into this world and breathes the breath of life, the mother delivers the baby into the state official's hands, who is known as a medical doctor. Following that delivery, an application is filled out by the mother, wherein she makes an application for a live birth. And so that application for a birth is the entrance of the baby into the Admiralty.
All of these all capital letter acronyms or names, as it were, are all the same party. In other words, this entity right here is the same as the United States is the same as IBM, is the same as Safeway, or wherever you shop for your groceries. So, they're all joined at the hip, they're all the same party, and so what's done to one is done to all.
That's right. Your baby is an admiral, and his birth certificate is really a tombstone. Luckily, all names are interchangeable with one another, and so we all live in a graveyard. And so your baby admiral, IBM, is sailing the land sea of the country, which he also is, because baby admiral equals the United States. And as our sovereign citizen legal expert Winston Trout has pointed out, how can you violate yourself? You can't. You owe no debts to anyone. You're accountable to no laws, because you in fact are the law, the instrument of the law, and the enforcement of it. But these sorts of high-level concepts can be difficult to comprehend, especially if you're stuck in a third-dimensional mindset.
So you had a little bit of exposure already to some of these other dimensional thinkings and so forth, so I thought I'd proceed today with a continuation of that thought process.
Look, folks, if you can ever get out of the third dimension, get into the fourth dimensional thinking, you'll realize that all this stuff we do is silly. I've basically been a fourth dimensional thinker for as long as I can remember. I can't remember being a third dimensional thinker.
For instance, when I lecture, do something like that, I'm speaking from a fourth, fifth, or sixth dimensional level, and then the people hear it at whatever position they are, and then as they listen to it more and more and more and more, then they start to...
Here's a piece of paper. Look here. Here's a piece of paper. Looks pretty big, don't it, until you put it this way. Now you say, well, there's not much to that. You start to, now, so this is a two-dimensional thing here. So, it's got all kinds of things on here, that describe some concept. And so anyway, this is basically a third-dimensional concept. Now, how do we take this into the third dimension? As for instance, people say, well, I just did accept it for value. I sent it off over here to the bank, ABC Bank, all that kind of stuff. And they didn't do nothing about it. And I said, yeah, well, did you call them? Did you talk to them about it? That kind of thing. And so, again, what you sent them was in the second dimension. It's not even the third dimension what you did. See? So you're sending them second dimension stuff, expecting third dimension results. And so perhaps when you start talking about third dimensional, at least in respect to these, then you need to start talking about talk, which is actually sonic. And so to get the results that we want, sometimes we have to go and talk about it. So you can talk about it. So now you can start to inject energy through sonic transmission. I have a friend who's a natural healer, very, very successful at it. And one of the techniques that he uses is called toning. He will actually vocally emit sonic vibrations at a certain frequency. I mean, he'll just, the last time he did it to me, man, the hair on my arms is standing up and I was doing this here.
See how simple it is when you really think about it? By using your sonic force, your supernatural vocalizations, you can turn that two-dimensional object into a three-dimensional concept with your fourth-dimensional thinking. And if you study and practice hard enough, one day you'll truly ascend to the fifth or sixth dimension. It truly takes a special sort of person to truly believe this, to not let themselves be held back by petty concepts like reality.
All right. As I mentioned, we went and did that seminar in London in 2009, and I had, prior to that time, I had been emailing with a lady who lived in England, who was in fact the Queen of the Fairies, and she's an incarnate fairy.
So I'll just launch right into it. It has to do with what we would call the dark cabals or Illuminatis.
Over a period of time, we developed a friendship, and then she opened up to me and demonstrated that she's also a very powerful shaman.
But as I studied more and more about mind control and satanic ritual abuse,
and by that time I learned just how powerful she was, because she had demonstrated it to me in several ways. And so I asked her, I said, are you capable of moving the prime meridian over to the Dragon Rose line? Now, the Dragon Rose line is the one that's in that Da Vinci Code movie, Dan Brown and Tom Hanks, they're running around, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so it's not very far over there from there in England.
And what they found out years ago was that if they traumatized a new baby, a new infant.
So I said, can you move that over there? She said, yep. I said, well, move it. She said, okay. And she told me that when she does things on the ether, it generally takes 3 days to materialize in the physical world. So I wasn't expecting anything. But anyway, the next day on Skype, she was hot to get me on Skype. She said, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I said, what's that? She said, if I hadn't been watching, I wouldn't have seen it. She said, but from about 8 o'clock in the morning until 3 in the afternoon, she said, time stood still.
What better source of knowledge for how to deal with legal situations or paying off debt to the IRS or creditors than Mr. Shroud, ally to the Queen of the Fairies? Not even the Dark Cabals or the Illuminati can use their mind control satanic magic to prevent you from learning these tips and tricks. Tips and tricks which are available in these affordable DVDs. For just a few $100s a piece, you too can learn all the information necessary to deal with tax debt, credit debt, legal fines, legal fees, and legal trouble for everything that you're getting for this value. I guess you could say these prices are out of this world.
What commercial interaction might go on between Earth people and visitors from the far reaches of space? Probably about 10 or 11 years ago, I made an acquaintance of a man who, as it turns out, is a Pleiadian. Now, he is not a Pleiadian soul who has incarnated in a typical Earth body, but he told me that his family had been on this planet for 13 generations.
I had planned to go up and visit with James up at the ranch there at East City. And so as I was getting prepared to go, I kept feeling all these rumblings. And I thought at first it was an earthquake coming, and then no earthquake hit. So I thought, well, I don't know what that was all about. But as it turned out, there was apparently a bunch of the reptilians and so forth. They were trying to make a run for it, trying to get off the planet. And the rumblings were the Pleiadians shooting their ships down.
There's another trusted friend of mine revealed that he was visited since 2009 by 3 Pleiadians right in his front room.
And so I understood there was about like 1,000 ships that were destroyed in that effort, which was a major thing. As I mentioned, Tolek and Simon and some of those others had reported that there were only like 120 reptilians left on the planet. Most of them got blasted out of the air by the Pleiadians. So the Pleiadians are having a major, and these are fifth dimensional Pleiadians, as I understand it. And it appears that the messages from the ETs, some perhaps from Pleiades, some from Andromeda, Sirius, and so forth, are spoken from a higher dimensional thought process. So many of the things which have come, for instance, seem to demonstrate a fourth dimensional logic and reasoning. And then another one of my friends, the ex-CIA sort of fellow, told me that he used to go down to Peru to interact with the Pleiadians who land there on a continual basis. And I have to say we do have help from external sources. Some like to say ET, some like to say angels, some talk about prophets or ascended masters or a whole host of entities. Anyway, another acquaintance that I had made, actually a native man from the Northern Utes up in northern Utah, had told me about little men who fly around up there on flying discs, gathering up radioactive materials in the mountains up there. And we also had other ambassadors who have come on this planet from Venus. And another friend of mine told me about a visitor who had come into her home from inside the hollow earth. Apparently she was very tall, or he was very tall, but luckily the house she lives in has a 10-foot high ceiling. Actually, in one of my previous existences, I was in fact a fifth dimensional Pleiadian. And so I kind of have that in my blood, which I have to work on because I have to get my mindset out of that in order to function in more of a spiritual way than I had when I was out blasting Pleiadians. And it's in galaxies and heck, maybe even from the whole universe. Our message to our space friends and family, to the extraterrestrials, to the ascended masters and other interdimensional beings is, come on down.
Winston Shrout, the man, the myth, the legend, fourth dimensional thinking, reincarnated fifth dimensional Pleiadian, ally to the Queen of the Fairies, and staunch opponent to the satanic dark cabal known as the Illuminati. Is it any wonder, with such powerful insights coming from such a important figure within the sovereign citizen movement, that the government needed to step in and try to squash the free man, to shackle him, bind him, and make him fettered once more? I'm sure you've all seen the fake news in the Oregonian, citing that Winston Shrout has been arrested and tried for selling upwards of 100 trillion fake dollars to his gullible followers, refusing to pay income taxes, and hosting private seminars which facilitated other people engaging in illegal activities. You may even have seen the follow-up headline saying that he is currently fleeing from the law, out on the lam, hidden in the wilds. Why, those very same fake news sources even went as far as to bribe his defense attorney and have him give a statement that his client was innocent because he is a literal fucking retard, and he didn't know better about what he was doing. Well, I ask you, who knows better? The United States government, its judicial system, and its civil courts, or Winston Shrout and his friends, the Pleiadians?
I think this whole thing, the information I'm getting from, how shall I say, the star people or the people on the other side, is that this whole thing will be wrapped up very close to May the 1st anyway. And so it's things are good, put it that way.